Welcome back to the Four Pillar Podcast. We stand for faith, family, fitness, and finance. And today we are talking about Achieve More, the power of goal setting, because I think it's super, super important to set goals. And especially we want to talk about this with the new year coming up and making sure that you're going into the new year on the right note and you're ready to go for the new year and you're not falling behind the eight ball if you aren't setting your goals and getting something set up and trying to achieve something. Because I think it's super important to, like I said, to have some sort of aim or target that you're trying to shoot or hit. Because if you don't, then stuff can kind of go over the place and you may not be achieving what you want to achieve or accomplish. And I think it's really, really important. And it kind of pushes you to go in the right direction with things as well. Because Kylie and I, we sit down and we do goal setting together as a family, and what do we want to accomplish as a family? And there may be some individual stuff that obviously is going to go in there because there's some jiu-jitsu stuff maybe that I want to do, and then there's something else that she wants to do with maybe getting chickens or doing something, which I mean I want to do that as well too. But there's certain things that be obviously more personalized, but one of the most important things I think there is to have goals. If you don't have goals or an aim or a mission, then you're not going anywhere. In my opinion, I know it's very, very blunt, but that's I think definitely the case for most people.
You're going through the motions, and a lot of situations it can be very monotonous if you don't have a certain goal that you're trying to reach.
Right. And one of my favorite quotes is a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Or I mean, I've also heard it kind of in the phrase of right, a dream without a plan always stays a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And you should dream, you should have things you want to accomplish or goals, but if you don't have a plan, or an action plan, you start doing it, it's always a dream and not a goal or not a plan, not actually tangible at that point.
Yeah. A lot of times when the New Year's comes around and you hear New Year's resolutions, it's very broad statements like, I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to buy a bigger house.
Right.
I don't know. Those, while they may be good goals, depending on the person, how do you really get to the nitty gritty of that goal?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Are you saying how to actually set a goal or what?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
that's a good place to start, and then we can kind of build off of that because we work at a gym. We own a gym. Let's start with losing weight. I want to lose weight as my New Year's resolution. So why is that not necessarily the best thing to say as a goal, and where do I start?
Yeah, I think when you start talking about goals, is I want to talk really quick why goals matters as well too, which I know we kind of briefly said that, but there's a lot of physiological and motivational benefits for having a goal, right? Mm-hmm. Because once again, it gives you a target and aim, something to go for, and by setting that, it gives you a psychological advantage to more likely stick to that and actually do it, especially if you physically write it down on a piece of paper or write it down somewhere, and that's very, very important. And it gives you a vision, it gives you purpose and direction, and it gives you a measurable progress as well too, because you can physically measure something, because a lot of people get discouraged because they don't think they're making any progress when maybe they realize, like, if they actually had something set that, like, oh wow, I've actually done like 75% of this because of XYZ. Mm-hmm. And so it gives you that measurable, tangible thing to achieve for, and it's super important. I think it helps you give you a guidance through life, what you want to accomplish and achieve, and obviously you have those dreams, and then they become a plan and an action. So you said the best way to start, and I heard this from Brian Tracy. I do some. Brian Tracy's an amazing author, writes a lot of great books, and I know you've heard me make this reference: is eat the biggest and ugliest frog first thing in the morning. So he writes the book called Eat That Frog, which, if you haven't read that and maybe you're struggling with time management, or even, it's not really a goal setting book, it's just how to like get stuff done, essentially, because everybody is usually in chaos all the time. It's a very very good book for that, how to set up time management and set up tasks and handle stuff. It's called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. But I originally got this kind of from him and a couple other guys that write down, like, pull out a piece of paper and write down 10 goals that you want to achieve or to accomplish, or you can do this in your notebook, whatever. And when you think about the goals, I'm very traditional. It's been around for a long time. It's called SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? So when you go through and you do all that, each goal should be a SMART goal. And this, I'm answering your question, but I'm weaving it like Donald Trump in here. Okay. So,
Can you repeat the SMART again?
What's that?
Can you repeat what I can't think of the word for it. SMART.
Acronym.
Yes, acronym. Thank you.
Acronym.
I kept wanting to say analogy. I guess that's
analogy.
True
it's kind of like that too. So SMART.
Say it a little slower, so if people are writing it down.
Right. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So SMART goals, it stands for specific. So specific being very specific. So let's use that weight loss one for an example, right? So you said like I want to lose weight. Let's say that's your goal. I want to lose weight, right? Is that very specific?
No,
it's very vague, right?
Yeah, and I use that example because that's what we get in the gym a lot. Is they come in, they sign up for a gym membership because they want to lose weight. We see them for a month, and then we don't see them the rest of the year.
Or my goal is I want to start exercising.
Yes,
I hear that. I actually probably hear that more even than I just want to lose weight.
Yeah, let's just start with lose weight.
That's going to be a solid example, right?
Yeah.
So I want to lose weight. Okay, so let's go through the acronym. Specific. That is not very specific, right? It's very vague. So something you could do is adding specific into it is I want to lose 10% of my body fat, right? And that's more specific. Or you could say body fat. You could say I want to lose 5 pounds of fat, or I want to lose 5 pounds in general. I want to gain 5 pounds, right? That's even more specific, depending on how you can actually measure that.
Yeah.
Because we have an InBody scanner here at the gym, and so obviously we can break it down to like percentages of your actual body fat and all that stuff. But let's just say we'll keep it simple, right? I want to lose 5 pounds, right? That becomes more specific.
Yeah.
So measurable, right? So specific, measurable, and I'm going to kind of tie in attainable with this. So that's the next one after the M is the A, is attainable.
Yeah.
So you have to do something that is somewhat real. This is the one thing that I will kind of argue with is attainable, is because I think you should really set stuff to like kind of push you a little bit, but you do want it attainable, right? So like maybe saying I want to put on 20 pounds of muscle in like a week, right? Is not attainable,
right?
Or even I want like whatever, right? It has to be attainable and measurable. So taking it from I want to lose weight to I want to lose 5 pounds of fat, it is very attainable and measurable and specific, right?
Right.
And I'm going to keep going through the acronyms because we're not there yet. So we go realistic and timely, right? So realistic and timely. That kind of finishes the whole kind of segment of setting your goal. So I want to lose 5 pounds of body fat in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And now, so you say, is that specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely? And I have that acronym correct, right?
I think so.
Okay. I was second guessing myself.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So, but that allows you to, sorry, I was looking at my notes. I guess some people call it achievable and relevant. It's all play on words here,
right.
But regardless. Okay. So, so I want to lose 5 pounds of body fat in 12 weeks, right? That's very specific. It's very measurable. It's very attainable. It's very realistic. Like anybody can do that. Yeah. And it's timely, as in you set a time on that goal to achieve it. And because all those things are super, super important, because if you don't do that, it kind of turns into an open-ended, like maybe I should or shouldn't kind of do this kind of thing.
Right.
And when and how and all that stuff. So that's a very easy way that you can have add a SMART goal into your life is make it specific. I'm going to say it again because it's super important. It drives me crazy when I hear people like tell me that goals, and I'm not judging you, but I am judging you at the same time. And you say, I want to lose, or like I have a goal, but it's stuff that's worked well for me. Like it works. And I know a lot of successful people and business mentors and stuff that use this, and I've used it to help achieve a lot of stuff I've done with the gym, and even just personal stuff with jiu-jitsu or powerlifting or weightlifting goals and stuff like that. And it does work very, very well. And it's very, very important, but specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Super, super important.
You've gotten frustrated with me in some goal setting when I don't have all of the acronyms in my goals.
Right. Well, and it's not like you have to be like crazy about it
No, but
all the time, right? There's stuff you want to do that, you know, for example, like I remember if I may use one of your goals that you said is like, which I agree with, it's a good goal for us to do. And we try to do this on a daily basis, but it's more of like
maybe a habit.
It's more of like a habit or kind of I don't even want to say like more like a moral compass decision or something, or
what
a principle. That's the word I was looking for, like a principle to live by, right?
I think I know where you're going, but I don't.
Well, so one of the things, one of the things was you wanted to make the kids more healthier snacks, right? Which I mean,
buy less packaged.
Buy less pre-packaged snacks for the kids, which you do already a pretty good job of that. But that's like, right? I'm not saying like people can't have that goal,
right?
But that's also like kind of more of a principle to live by, or still very like kind of vague.
Right.
It's kind of a goal, but not really a goal at the same time. Like depending on what you're doing. Now, like you could still break that down and be like, depending on how crazy you want to get, right? You could be like, I want to, in the next 12 weeks, I want to make my kids eat 75% less prepackaged snacks by blah, 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 blah. Right. And that like that you could kind of turn into a goal, but that's more of like a principle to live by.
Yeah. Or I want to learn 5 recipes that the kids like that I can replace by in 12 weeks or whatever.
Right. And you should have like non-negotiables or principles or habits to live by, but that's for a whole nother podcast. We're going to stick with like the goal setting stuff today. So,
and I know one of my goals was also like get chickens, and that does not go by the acronym as well. And because I've had to learn how to alter some of my goals to fit the acronym, and I definitely get more done when the SMART acronym is in place.
So finishing the whole goal thing, right? So taking it back to what I would like to say to do is especially if you feel like you're not accomplishing a lot and whatever you want to accomplish, is write down 10 goals that you want to achieve. And like anything, anytime, like it doesn't really matter. Write down 10 goals, but make them SMART goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah.
Now, once you have your list of 10 goals, go through and read them again and pick out the number one thing that's going to change your life on that list. Circle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Pull out another piece of paper, write that goal again on that piece of paper at the top, and now write out everything you need to do to accomplish that goal. And then write out why it's important for you to accomplish it and like what it's going to do for you and why you want to do this at the bottom of it as well too. And then sign it. And then start doing that every single day, and you'll achieve it.
Yeah.
And that's a very simplified way of doing that. Now, something I adjust is I keep 3 main goals. Like you have to be careful, because this is the problem with goal setting and focus in life that I've struggled with over the years. I'm starting to reel it back in a little bit, like when I'm focused on my intentions. And that's because you have opportunities come up. And just because you have a good opportunity come up doesn't mean you should give it attention or not. Because you have goals and you need to achieve that goal. And by doing something else or another opportunity, it's taking away from you actually achieving what you said you want to do that's important in your life.
Yeah.
So, not saying you can't ever do that thing, right? You should add it to a list or something, but I recommend not having more than like 3 big goals. 4 if you want to get crazy. And the reason I say 4 is because faith, family, fitness, and finance.
Right.
So you can pick one goal for each of those things.
Yeah.
But just keeping it simple, and don't get caught up on like, oh, I should like have a goal for my faith, or I have to have a goal. Like no, just pick 3 goals and do them. Right.
Yeah.
Write down a list and circle the most 3 important things. And that's where it goes back to the list. So you did that with 1. Now just do that 2 more times. Right. If you want to do 3.
Right.
And then once you have your 1 to 3 goals that you have, right, and you have wrote down, I mean, basically a good rule of thumb to go by is write out 3 targets for that goal that are going to help you accomplish that goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for each of those 3 targets, write out 3 more things to accomplish that target. If you really want to break it down, right? Mm-hmm. That's just a recommended template that I've used. That's very beneficial. It helps you kind of create creative flows to how can I accomplish this. But the most important thing is write down the goal, make it smart, and then write down everything you need to do to achieve that goal, essentially.
Yeah.
Then put what your reward is and why it's important, and then sign it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing to take. If I say anything like that's the most important thing to take away. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help you accomplish that. And then now, once you have those 3 things, that 1 thing, you focus on that's what you're going to do, and that's how you choose to manage your time, is accomplishing those 3 goals, and nothing else matters,
right,
for the most part. That's where we must need to get another podcast talking about habits and stuff like that, because some other stuff becomes habits or rituals or principles to live by, and it's not necessarily goals. It's just stuff you do every single day that make you successful or healthy or whatever. But that's what I recommend, and that's going to make you very successful. It's worked very well for me, and I know a lot of other people. It's helped them achieve a lot of stuff.
I'm going to add to that as well.
Go for it.
So when you're setting goals as well, one thing that's really helped me specifically is voicing that goal to your spouse, to somebody who's going to support you and hold you accountable. Both of those things are extremely important.
Yes.
Support and hold it accountable, because if you just pick somebody who's going to be supportive, they're going to be supportive even if you fail. There's that could be another podcast too. Not that they shouldn't love you no matter if you fail, but you need somebody to hold you accountable as well. And when we're married, we have kids, when we're setting goals, we keep all of that in mind. So like Ian and I will go away in December for a night or 2 and go over every goal we have as individuals, every goal we have as a family, go over our calendar, how are we going to get these goals, and we feel really refreshed for the new year. And I know this is going into more New Year's resolutions, but we decided to include our 4-year-old daughter in this. Obviously, looks a little different, but we picked a word. We had her pick a word from the list of the fruits of the Spirit, and she chose joy. Explain the difference between happy and joy. And so through the year, we're going to just have that at the forefront of our mind to remind her to be joyful, to find joy in things with her, XYZ. Mine is fortify, because I want to fortify is strengthen and protect, fortify my 4 pillars. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to find goals within each of those. I'm speaking to mostly women right now because it's more emotional based. Like with fitness, I can't be a numbers person because of my past with eating disorders, stuff like that. So I got out of my comfort zone and signed up for a mud run in Michigan, and I have to train for that. So my fitness goal may not look like I want to lose X amount of body fat, because that is going to be dangerous for me personally, but it could be very beneficial for somebody else. Mm-hmm. So when you're picking somebody who's going to hold you accountable and be supportive, that person should also help you with those goals as well.
Yeah. That's something you can just add in your paper at the bottom too, your accountability person, right?
Yeah, have them sign it.
Yeah. I think you have them sign it, or you can just say like, this is the person I'm telling about it. It's like accountability partner, wife, right? And you can tell your wife that, boom, this is what I'm going to do, blah, 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 blah.
And that person might not even be your spouse.
It doesn't have to be your spouse. Yeah, it could be anybody, but it is important to have that person.
Absolutely.
And my word is equanimity.
What's that mean, Ian?
It's actually one of my new favorite words. So when Kylie was actually pregnant for Ori, her son, I actually read it in the hospital. Because I obviously, they just don't shoot kids right out of their bodies, so
Whoa.
you're in there for a while. So I read it. I actually read it in 24 hours. So I had a lot of downtime, like right before he was born. Read the whole book of Power of One by
Sorry.
Ed
You
Milet.
had a lot of downtime before he was born as I was screaming in the bed.
Well,
it just sounded funny.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
that's not what I meant. Like
I
obviously,
know.
like when we first got there,
Yeah.
we weren't laboring very hard, and
Right.
then obviously, after he was born,
Yeah.
right, there's only so much you're just kind of sitting in the hospital waiting to go home, essentially
Yes.
at that point.
Right.
So
It just sounded funny.
yeah.
It caught me off guard.
So be careful with I'm getting static with you
okay.
holding on to it. Sorry.
Okay.
But I read that, and it's by Ed Milet. I think I'm saying that correctly. And he talks about equanimity, and equanimity is I'll read the dictionary definition here. It's mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. And so he talks about, and one of my new favorite words is equanimity, because having equanimity in your life through like everything, through faith, through family, through fitness, through finance, and keeping evenness or composure, or you say tranquility in each part of those things, or whenever you're doing, because a lot of people get super stressed out, super worried about things that don't really matter, and they have so much they almost put too much energy and focus into maybe things that don't matter as well, and getting over stressed out about goals and everything. Like we have a lot going on just in our families and our lives and stuff like that. So it's like trying to keep equanimity in my life through everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it could be in a physical and a mental sense as well. So keeping, like I said, that evenness in all of the four things: faith, family, fitness, and finance. Almost kind of like yours. I just used a more fancier word, I guess, um, for it. But just with everything going on, keeping a realistic view of like what's important, and keeping a good, healthy mindset and everything, and not getting caught up in like workaholism or just anything anything like that. Like taking care of myself, physically, mentally, spiritually, and all basically what our four pillars stand for. And so that was kind of my word, especially with everything going on as well.
Yeah, and I also think going along with like we use the four pillars for a lot of things. So setting goals within each of those four pillars was important for me specifically. But also, I think it's really when you're talking about New Year's resolutions, because that's kind of why we decided to do this podcast today. You don't have to set a goal for the whole year, because I think that can be really overwhelming. Like when we're talking about we talk about losing weight, but let's talk about I want to make more money. Okay, what does that look like over the course of a whole year? Like if you split it up into quarters, I think that you can be much more specific with your goal as well. So you don't have to wait till the first of the year to set goals, and you don't have to wait until January 1st, 2026 to set a new goal. You can not constantly because you need to be focused, but you can make it quarterly. You could make it however you want, whatever works best for your goal, I guess.
Yeah, I actually recommend setting quarterly ones if you preferably can. I mean, when you, excuse me, when you get down to like the simplified version is like, don't even really worry about the timeline, just whatever you want to achieve, and then make it broken down to whatever that is simply. But yeah, when you start getting more detailed into it, that's how I would recommend, is roughly looking at you're setting quarterly things that you're going to accomplish, or quarterly goals. And I mean, obviously it's good to be like, okay, what, like you should know, like, what do you want to do in 5 years or 10 years as well too, because that gives you still some direction, or things that you want to do. But for the most part, just keep it simple. Don't overthink it as well.
Right. Well, like when we were talking about the losing weight, that you had brought up, a smart example would be the 5 pounds in 12 weeks. Okay, those 12 weeks are over. Now you have to set a new goal. Maybe so let's say you lost the 5 pounds. Let's now sign up for a 5K, and you want to make it in the first three, like you want to be first place, second, or third place.
Right.
So now you're training for that. So you're constantly working towards something. You don't just lose the 5 pounds, then you're like, well, I did that, because then you're more than likely going to gain it back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that as well too, like the five, like with the 5K, you don't even have to maybe say I want to win or get second, but just you want to complete it in a certain amount of time too.
Oh yeah,
As
I guess
well
that's
would be,
that would be a better one.
yeah,
Yeah.
would just be beneficial. So it's
Yes.
it's more tiered towards you. But that's where it gets into too. Like was saying, like, hey, I want to lose 5 pounds. Is you start developing. Okay, you're sitting down and writing like what's your daily habits, your principles that you're going to live by, and your rituals.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not like I do have some goals when I'm getting ready for a competition or something. Like I have to get to a certain weight, right, for a jiu-jitsu tournament. But on a daily basis, I just eat a certain way and exercise every day anyway, because it's a principle I live by, which is important to have those items to start to balance your life. So those things aren't even really essentially goals at some point anymore. I mean, you still have goals. Like I have a certain amount of weight I want to bench press eventually or whatever. But if you understand what I'm saying,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, and there's little things that you can adjust in your life to help you reach your goals as well. Like eating better is another one that I've heard. If you're wanting to, well, I guess this could be financial or fitness. One thing that I used to do, because when I was single and working 2 jobs, I would eat out a lot, and I didn't want to do that anymore. And so I'd put $20 in my center console, and once I spent that $20 on fast food, I couldn't buy anymore for that month.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to use my card. I only had to use that cash. Once I was out, I was out.
Right.
So I got really picky about when I went out, and including like when I went out with friends too. So that was just an idea that really helped me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I shared this that when I talked about treasure this one time, but there's another way you can do that. Something similar is the I forget the exact word I use for it. I'm drawing a blank here, but basically, you could call it I call it a reinforcement strategy. Yeah, is you basically take like $200 or something and put it aside or whatever, 500. I mean, you can make it pretty significant if you wanted to, but and then you basically put this aside and say, hey, here's my goal I'm going to achieve, and if I don't actually achieve it in the amount of time, I'm going to give this amount of money to, I mean, I hate to kind of say it like this, but an organization or something that you don't like.
Right.
Because then that can.
Okay, so we do carnivore diet. You like, let's say PETA. Like you have to donate that to PETA or something.
Well, right, and like something I've used as well has been like.
Okay.
It's been like, okay,
go
if I don't achieve this goal, like I'm going to have to donate this $300 to the Democratic Party, right? Because that would burn a hole through my soul if I had to actually do that. But that's one way you can use that as a like a reinforcement way to, to help encourage yourself to not have to do that.
I was going PETA. You just went there.
Yeah, sorry.
You went there full force.
I apologize. I respect everybody's.
Everybody can think what they want. Yeah.
But I guess you probably know us by now or know me. Like I'm very conservative, so.
Right. Anybody that's listening to this probably understands that at least. Maybe doesn't agree with it, but understands it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see here. Sorry, let's get back on topic here.
Yes. Yeah. Please.
So, sorry. Go ahead and finish whatever you were saying, though.
I don't know.
Okay. No. Okay. So the couple things that like I do as well, that so we kind of talked about, once you have your goal, that once you get that goal, like the other thing, like all the stuff we just talked about, then actually doing it. One thing I like to recommend for people to do is time blocking. I think is super important. And basically what time blocking is like, right, once you know you need to do, because you wrote that goal out, you have all that stuff set up, that's what what I need to do, like you actually got to do it,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't, a plan on a piece of paper that has no action in it is just a plan. It doesn't actually accomplish anything. So I recommend whatever you use, Google Calendar or a book planner. If you don't have either of those, you need one, because you have to have some sort of structure and discipline. If you don't, you're not going to do anything, in my opinion. Excuse me. I was drinking too much coffee this morning. The so write down like times every single day that you're going to work on those items. So for an example, just set 30 minutes aside every morning at 8 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever, and then I'm going to work on that specific goal or goals, and then you just do it and you start doing it. And that way, it kind of gives you the hack approach. Like if you're hacking down a tree, right? You just don't sit there for 12 hours and have to cut down this big tree. You just kind of take a couple swings at it every day, and eventually it's going to fall over.
Yeah.
Or eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? Like there's no way you could eat an elephant in one sitting, but if you worked on it for a couple months, you probably eat it all eventually.
Yeah.
Same kind of philosophy, and that gives you that approach to it. And that's super important, is that consistency with that time blocking. And I use time blocking a lot to do basically about everything. It's pretty beneficial. It helps you focus, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like ADHD or whatever all the acronyms are, tendencies, which I feeling I probably do. It helps you focus on items.
Well, one good example of that is one of your goals was like to get through the Bible, to read the Bible.
Right.
So you started reading a chapter at a time, which doesn't necessarily get you there in a year.
Well, the New Testament, it does.
Okay, well,
get
the
you
New
there in a
Testament
year.
it does.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, how much time do you realistically spend on that? Because if you say I want to read the whole New Testament, that can sound like a lot. And maybe the first day you read 3 books of the Bible and then you're like, wow, I don't understand anything I just read. But you decided I'm going to read one chapter each day of the New Testament. That's like 10 minutes of your day.
Yeah.
And so that's very realistic, but also you're comprehending it more too, because you're just focused on that one chapter.
Right. That's actually a really good example. I'm glad you brought that up. So, for example, that was one of my goals I did last year was, I wanted to read the whole entire New Testament. I just started with that. Now I've redone it. I'm doing the whole entire Bible. But let's just say you just want to read the whole entire New Testament, right? It's 260 chapters.
Okay, yeah.
And I did this. I read one chapter a day. And this, like Kylie said, it allows you to actually like kind of fully understand it or read through it a little bit more. And so you can like absorb it more, versus where if you read multiple chapters, it can become just kind of a whirlwind of information. So obviously you already know the math to that, right? 260 chapters, read one chapter a day. You can really read the whole entire New Testament in under a year.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And it was super beneficial, and it actually helped me maintain like doing that every single day. Because it literally, I mean, some chapters, were longer, where I maybe spent 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 20 minutes. And that's just because I was like really analyzing the chapter, or really going through it. But yeah, I mean, most mornings it was like 10 minutes, if that, depending to read it. So, and that's very manageable.
Yeah.
And I was going to say for the whole entire Bible, there's 1,189 chapters. So it's going to take you about three years.
Yeah.
But I'm so with the whole entire Bible, with the New Testament, I'm actually doing about usually about like 2 or 3 chapters a morning.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I mean, even doing that, depending on how fast you read, it's still only taking me about 15 minutes or so, depending on the length of the chapters. But that's that's an easy way to break down and do something.
Yeah. I don't have anything.
Okay, sorry. So that's kind of like what we want to talk about this morning. And kind of challenge whoever's listening or other people that are listening to think about this, write a goal. Right. If you've never done goals, like I said, you definitely need to do it. It's going to help you. I think you accomplish like way more. And just bring up really quick, kind of previously, we talked a little bit earlier. Kelly talked about how we have our goals. We talked about like our goals. We share goals with one another. We do like a short weekend getaway to do planning for the new year every year and all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be long, just like a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can sit down with your spouse or your significant other and kind of plan what you both want to do and have our goals, not just my goals. Because I think once you become married, I mean, even if you have a significant other, you've been dating for a long time, you're thinking about getting married, like whatever, that becomes, and then you start having kids, it becomes our goals, right? It's not individually about us anymore. It's about our goals. I mean, you still have some individual goals, but she knows what mine are, and I know what hers are, so they become our goals regardless.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important for communication and expectations for you and your spouse. But I kind of challenge you to sit down and do that, with your spouse. That's very important, that it becomes our goal, so you can have support of your spouse and have a more likelihood of achieving it and getting support and having that accountability to do that.
And I would also challenge, if you have kids, to include them in some way. So as they're being raised, they see their parents having goals, succeeding in those goals. The example I used with ours earlier is we just picked a word for our 4-year-old to focus on, and we're going to remind her about joy and what that looks like and what we're joyful for. So I understand that's not really a goal, but that's more of a focus for the new year. But I would definitely challenge to add your kids to that, because I think that could be very beneficial as they're growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and if you have any questions or whatever, please let us know. And maybe even if you want to, tag us in a goal, tag one of us and say, hey, here's my goal after you listen to the episode. And that can be some people actually do that. It works super well for them. They will share their goal on social media.
Yeah.
Because
we'll call you out on a podcast if you do that.
Right.
Like, Billy, how you doing with your finances, man?
Right. But then as well, like what Kylie just said too, is like if you post it on social media, I guarantee you somebody's going to see it. And then this is where the accountability thing comes in. You're going to probably unexpectedly randomly run into that person in Walmart or wherever, and they're going to be like, yeah, you had such a motivating goal. You said you're going to lose like 10 pounds in like 30 days and blah, blah, blah. Like, how did that go? And then you're going to be like,
as you have Swiss rolls in your, your Walmart
as
cart.
you're eating Swiss rolls. But that, and if you kind of let it go or you slacked on it, that's going to be kind of a punch in the face to be like, might get you back on board as well too. So, but you will have it happen, because I've had it happen. People like, I used to post a little bit more about like doing jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. People will ask me about like, hey, how'd that jiu-jitsu turn? I randomly saw like whatever. And so like, yeah, it makes you like realize that like, okay, yeah, I'm being held accountable for what I'm saying I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps push you to do that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So thanks do you have anything before we wrap it up? I know we're running out of time here as well.
Yeah, you're good.
But that's a pretty straightforward episode. So like for something as well too, to like just a recap here. So what 100% will change your life is setting down, doing goals, making them SMART goals. Like I said, do that exercise, take out a piece of paper, write down 10 goals, circle 3 of them that are going to most likely change your life. Transfer them to another piece of paper, write down everything you need to do to accomplish that goal, write down why it's important, a reward you're going to get, and an accountability partner, and then time block or set stuff that you're going to do every single day to achieve those 3 goals, and then it'll absolutely change your life. It helped me out a ton in my professional career, like with the gym, with trying to do stuff. And I know a lot of other business mentors and stuff that I've gotten it from that has helped a ton of people. So it will absolutely change your life whenever you want to do. It's very, very important. I think the last thing as well too with that is too, don't get so something we talked about is like being like super goal focused. You can actually kind of almost get a little bit depressed as well when you start achieving all your goals, and that's where you have to keep adding something else to achieve or do if you're very goal or goal oriented. which isn't always a bad thing, but it can put you in a bad mindset. So just keep that in mind as you're setting goals or you're wanting to achieve something. You don't maybe always have to have something that's going to beat your previous goal. I think as long as you're having something that you're achieving and accomplishing and working towards, it puts you in the correct mindset to kind of help you get outside your comfort zone and work towards something. So just because you lose like 20 pounds doesn't mean now I'm going to lose 25 pounds. I'm going to lose like 30 pounds the next time. I mean, at some point, you're not going to be able to lose any more weight, right?
Yeah.
But it could turn into like, I want to bench 135 pounds, right? Or
Yeah.
it doesn't have to like beat your previous goal always. For the most part, depending on what you're trying to accomplish and stuff like that, you can always pivot them and adjust them.
Can I just say one good example of that?
Yeah.
And then we can, when you got your black belt, you almost went through something similar, which that's something you worked for your whole life. That was a huge goal. You got your jiu-jitsu black belt, and I remember that week after, you were just
I was
pretty
kind of
quiet.
depressed.
Yeah, you started getting really depressed. Not really, I'm sorry. You started getting depressed, but then you started coming up with some more goals of competing
Right.
and stuff like that. And then it lit a fire in you again.
Yeah.
So it was just one example of what you just said that I think was pretty crucial for you to learn, because
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's actually a really, really good example. Yeah. When I got my black belt, I actually got really depressed for a couple of weeks afterwards. You think I've done jujitsu since I've been like 12 years old basically. And so when you get that into that sport or whatever, you like, right, the ultimate like climbing Mount Everest is getting your black belt.
right.
So like, then you do it. It's like, kind of like, wow, that was like really cool. But like,
What next?
yeah, like,
what now?
yeah. I think people go through that. That's where you just have to pivot and create the correct mindset and just enjoy the journey and the new journeys to come as well too with that.
Absolutely. Yep.
So thank you for listening. This was the 4 Pillar Podcast. Don't forget to give us a like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff on the social medias. And if you want to set a goal and tag us in it, that'd be awesome. Or tag Kylie or I, or even the gym, Lashley Training Center. We'd love to see your goals. And I also just genuinely wanted to do this episode as well too, we want to see people be successful, and you can be successful. So set goals and do something hard every single day to get there, and it will make you it'll just make you be a better person and get whatever that is that you want to achieve in life, which I think everybody should have. Everybody has the right to take something good for themselves and earn it. Never deserve anything but earn it. Yep. Have a great day. If you believe it, you can achieve it, and we'll see you in the gym soon. Thanks for watching and listening.